You're loud and clear here.
Okay. All right.
Andrea keeps dropping out.
All right. Well, welcome everyone. My name is Dr. Kurt Fisnick, and we'll get the call started. I know we got a couple more people that are going to join us, but some of us, Debbie has to get back to a family function, so I'm going to unmute you. Debbie, you have to hit your unmute button. If you want to hit your unmute button, Deb. There you go.
Hello.
Are you there?
Can you hear me?
I hear you loud and clear.
I am here. Can you hear me?
I can.
Very
If
good.
you wanna, do you want me to turn your video on, or can you turn your video on, or do you not want to have your video on?
How does she turn it on, Doc?
Start my video. How about that?
Huh? I don't see the video yet. There, we have it. Perfect. Okay, and I'm going to mute Andrea, if you want to mute yourself out so that we get a good clean. Oh, just barely. You're in the dark.
I know. I'm going in the house. Just a minute.
Okay.
Doc, can you hear me now?
I hear you.
Okay.
Loud and clear. Perfect. Well, hey everyone, my name is Dr. Kurt Fisnick, and tonight we have a special call. We've got about 10 people that are joining us, and we're going to be doing a testimonial call. We're going to share stories of how people are finding better health, and what a great thing, you know, because in a couple weeks, 2 weeks, it's going to be the new year, and a lot of people have a New Year's resolution that they're going to find better health, they're going to get in shape, they're going to do this, they're going to do that, and even if you're looking for a way of making more money, I mean, you might find some things here so you can start your business and learn how to make some more money. So we can share some stories on that as well. And so tonight I asked my friend Debbie to jump on, and I know she's got a family function going on, and she stepped out to be with us. But Debbie's got one of those stories that I'm going to say this before she even tells her story. We really have to say that we're not making any claims of cures. We're not making any claims of treatments, anything like that, because Debbie's story is one of those that I mean, she was at a point to where they told her she didn't have much time left on this planet. And I won't steal any more of her thunder. I'll let her share her story. So Deb, if you'd want to kind of tell us what's going on with you and what happened to you, I don't know, what was it, like 8 years ago?
I could sure do that. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Very good. In 2013, I was diagnosed with stage 4 ovarian cancer. The doctor said I had less than 20%. So the day I heard that news, I went home, called Tom Maurer, told him what I had. He said, "Oh my gosh, that's not good." Told me to start drinking a lot of Fucoited. So I was drinking maybe a half a bottle a day. I'd walk by the fridge, take a drink, take a drink, take a drink. So I ended up having 4 deals of chemo, major surgery, 4 more chemo, and I'm cancer free.
And that's been 7 years.
7 years. I made it 7 years. My cancer doctor said she'd never seen anybody with that much cancer still be here. Doesn't know what to do with me. I said, I told you I was going to be here. So I feel very blessed. I believe I give Sisel a lot of the credit.
Yeah. What and now as a maintenance type of thing, what do you take today? I mean, obviously you're not drinking a half bottle a day anymore.
Still do the Triangle of Life. I do Body Shield. We do Brain Vitality. We do Age Pill. What else? I take a whole bunch. Vitamin D. Take a vitamin D. Right now with COVID, we're doing vitamin D, vitamin C, and zinc. So, and our whole family's had it except Paul and I. So I believe my products and the vitamins help me.
All right. Well, thanks for sharing your story. I know you got a family function going on. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with everyone that, you know, kind of inspire them to, to get going?
You know what? I just think that the products are amazing, and you know, I like to tell people at least try it. You know, what have you got to lose? My doctor said when they were going to put me on chemo, he said, "Now I want you off all the products that you take because they could interfere with the chemo. I thought, you know what, you're putting poison in me anyway. And the juice is, they didn't tell me to quit drinking orange juice. It's all natural. So I believe we're here because of all of that.
There you go.
And
Well, Deb, thanks. Thanks for sharing, and have a Merry Christmas. Enjoy your family, and have fun down there in Omaha.
Thank you so much. We're getting a snowstorm right now. So.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Well, we don't need that.
Christmas now, maybe, huh?
All right. Well, thanks for sharing, and have a Merry Christmas.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye now. All right. Well, let's run over to Bob McFarland down in Australia. We'll go across the globe. It's Saturday morning down there. Bob lives somewhere out in the country, in the woods, backwoods. Bob.
Bob the Bushy, they call me, Kurt, but I'm not as backward as I used to be, but I live in Orange, a lovely little town, just 3 hours out of Sydney. But I've got such a long testimony. I don't know how long you're going to let me talk, but I could talk all day about the Mau mission and the Mau people, because they should be on the highest pedestal in all over the world, because even going back before Sisel, and thank God I've got a good friend in Lil Anderson, and also Helen Bother and Kate Larkinson. They're like gold to me. And this time in 2007, before Sisel, that with Tom's old company, I had mycoplasma, which is a deadly disease, and I was in hospital for 10 weeks. I was carrying an oxygen tank around with me, and my darling late wife, who I lost 6 years ago through cancer. But if I know as much as I do now, I think I'd have still had it. But I didn't. I was ignorant and I didn't know what to do. But anyway, that's another story. But anyhow, she fed me with the Tom Mau's 3 old company products. I'll tell you, Revinol, Feroxin and Oracle. And she spliced me up with them. And then when he booked out Dr. Bartholomew at the Albury Private Hospital, he said to me, he said, Bob, I don't know what the blazes you've done, but he said, I've had 7 blokes come into this hospital with that problem. It's running horses, mainly horse trainers, jockeys and that. And he said, you're the first bloke to walk out of here. Now, that was 13 years ago. And then
13 years ago.
Yeah. And then luckily Lil and I hooked up again, and she said, how about joining Sisel? Because I was a bit depressed about not being able to carry on with a lot of the products. And I joined Sisel, and I'm on 10 products. I can't tell you which one's doing the best for me, but I've had my Vital Vision. Would you like to hear that?
Mm-hmm.
Vital Vision. I had a cataract done before I was involved with Sisel, and on the right eye. And he said, well, we won't do your left eye until you come back, but you got a bit of glaucoma, and you've also got a cataract. So I said, righto. So I went away, and 12 months later, I went, he said, I want to see you this time next year. And that's last September. I went back to him, and the little girl put me through all the tests, and she said, he took me into his office, lovely bloke, Dr. Curtin, and he said, look, Bob, he said, I don't know what you're doing, but whatever you're doing, keep it up, because he said, your eyes have improved out of sight. He said, your glaucoma's all but gone, and I can't find hardly any of your the cataract in your left eye, so I don't want to see you for another 12 months. And again, I didn't tell him because he's trained in another field, but I've been on Vital Vision for 3 months. And then just the other day, I had my darling daughter came round, and she said, oh, I've just been round to Laurel's with her little girl's 3-year-old. She's got thrush, and she's so sore she can't eat, she can't drink, she can't sleep, she can't do anything, and she's in a lot of pain. And I had a bottle of Terminator sitting on the bench, and I said, well, look, I'm no doctor, and as you said, I said, I can't claim anything, but I said, take this around to her and get the little one to wash her mouth out with this. She took it round. At 5 o'clock, she took it. At 6 o'clock, the pain had gone. At 7 o'clock, they gave her another swish round with it. And by mid-morning, the next morning, she was chirpy, she was back to her old self, there was no sign of it, and she went off to school as if nothing happened. And she'd been trying every other thing, and nothing was working. The Terminator again, I was out the other day I'm not much of a gardener, but I got some nice white standard roses, and I thought I better freshen the place up a bit like a bachelor pad. So I put some roses in the house I was going to, and a bee stung me on my left finger. I'm left-handed, and he hit me there. I didn't see him. He's in the flowers, and he's in the centre of the rose, and he whacked it into me. And holy moly, it was like a hypodermic needle. I pulled it out, and unfortunately for the bee, when you pull the sting out, he dies. So I pulled the sting out of me, and the pain running up the arm and the finger swelling up. I rushed inside and I grabbed my Terminator. And within 10 minutes, the swelling had gone, the pain had gone, and I wouldn't know it had happened. And yet the bee died because of it.
All right.
Then those three things, and then I did a quiz on myself the other day, just waiting to go and see a bloke about valuations, and I just asked a few people around, and the oldest I am is 63, and the youngest I am is 57, out of about 12 people. In actual fact, I'm 75. I don't feel it, I don't look it, I don't act it, and thank God for Sisel, our mission. I'm on 10 products. As I said, I love the stuff. Cost me a bit of money, but what's money? You can't take it with you. And I just love, and I know that I'm helping others. When you're buying your product, and when you're in the group of people like I am, the more I can do financially and physically, and do something like this, I'm not just helping myself. I'm helping a lot of people, and that's in my age and my stage of life. That's what I want to do. I just want to help people. People say, "What do you want for Christmas?" I want for nothing. I just want good health, happiness, and fun. And I just think that so much of the world today, it's all centered around the Christmas tree and giving and thinking, but a lot of it can be done just you physically going out and visiting a friend. And I've written a poem. I've got to do a poem at church. Just a minute. It's the whole meaning of Christmas, and this is, I'm digressing a little bit here, but it's all about what Tom Bauer and the mission's all about. And I just summed it up: the birth of Jesus Christ, what we call Christmas. We thank God for the birth of Jesus. We thank Jesus for the life he lived for us. We thank God for the wonder of Christmas, the baby in the manger, God's only unfailing love for us. I won't read the whole poem, but the last one, which I think is important, especially around Christmas, in all of this, wherever we can, whenever we can, share the joy of Christmas for the elderly, the lonely, the frail, the homeless, and the lost, to help them remove their emotional costs. And that sums up what I think Christmas should be all about. And unfortunately, there's a lot of materialistic things coming in. It comes in at Christmas and it comes in at Easter. And, you know, they're missing the point. They're missing the boat. They're missing what it's all about. And I think we'd be in a lot better place if we all thought of others before we thought of ourselves and thought about the presents under the tree. But anyway, I've digressed too much on that one. But basically, I just live for the sake that the Mao mission probably would be one of the most incredible, and I know you're not allowed to promote healing and all that and claim things, and I think that's farcical, because we should be allowed to do that, but that's because of the laws and regulations in Australia and America, and we've got somehow that's broken down. But anyway, Kurt, that's about it. I could go on and on and on, but I just
All right.
love you all.
Well, I know you have other testimonials to share, and you've shared them before, but thanks for sharing the new ones, and Merry Christmas. Thanks for reading that poem. We all appreciate that, because we do need to hear that what it's really all about.
Exactly.
So thank you.
Exactly.
All right. Well, thank you, and hopefully you get some snow on Christmas.
Not quite. More like 44 in the water bag.
Not in Sydney, huh? Okay. Well, let's run over to my friend Andrea over in Michigan. And Andrea, if you want to unmute yourself and share your story, and tell us what's been going on in your life recently.
Okay. Well, I thought I would talk a little bit about Fucoidan because it's a fabulous product. When I first joined Sisel, actually just about 4 years ago, I ordered the Triangle of Life products, of which Fucoidan is part of. It's a liquid supplement, and it boosts the immune system and creates a good environment for gut bacteria, takes out inflammation. And I had heard a video where someone shared that when their kids got sick, they'd just give them like a teaspoon of Fucoidan every hour. And before they knew it, they'd be well again. Well, when that bottle ended, I reordered a bottle. But in the meantime, I got this bad lung infection, I guess. And it put me down. I was pretty concerned, and I almost went to the emergency room one night because it was just, my chest hurt so bad. And I was like, oh, if I just had that Fucoidan, you know. So I did what I could until it came, which was a couple days later. And I just drank like a fourth of a cup, like every 3 or 4 hours. And I ended up within 36 hours, I was fine, where I was 36 hours before thinking about going to the emergency room. And you know, I don't like to go to the hospital. So that was a big deal. The other thing is I use it regularly every day, except maybe 2 months out of the last 4 years. And one night I had indications I was getting a urinary tract infection, and it was like 9:30 at night. And I'm like, oh, nothing's open. I can't get any natural products or anything to deal with this, you know? And I went, I wonder if that Fucoidan will work for this, you know, because often people drink cherry juice or cranberry juice to get rid of that. So I did like a fourth a cup right then, and my symptoms started dissipating pretty well. And I drank another fourth of a cup at 11 o'clock, got up, no symptoms, no urinary tract infection. So I'm going to chalk it up to the Fucoidan. Most recently, I just did about 26 days of COVID, and I'm pretty much recovered now, except for my lungs. And but what I want to share is, in the very beginning, I didn't realize I had COVID. I didn't feel right, and I just thought I picked up like some little bug or something, you know. And I had just gotten a Fucoidan, but my grandson was sick with some kind of sinus thing, so I gave him a third of my bottle. My ex-husband got sick, and I gave him a third of a bottle, told him to take like a tablespoon every 2 hours. So that left me a third of a bottle. Well, after I gave him the Fucoidan, I came home that night and I started feeling bad. So I started taking it like that too. So I didn't feel good for a couple of days, and then I felt much better. And I thought, you know, I'm over it, whatever it was. And I'm going to kind of attribute it to that, because the same thing happened to Gary, who I gave some Fucoidan to. Is on that third day, he felt fine. He went out hunting, you know. And so now we're out of Fucoidan, don't have a spare. And both of us ended up sick after that day. And we're sick quite a while, but we're doing better. And I'm drinking my Fucoidan like crazy. So that was good. I can't hear you, Doc. Are you muted?
I was going to say, the moral of the story is don't run out of Fucoidan.
That's right. Don't be without it. It's good stuff.
All right. Well, thanks for sharing those stories. We really appreciate it. And Merry Christmas. Hopefully everything goes good in Michigan for you and you keep getting better.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I know my friend Lisa, I think she had some things she had to do also. So Lisa, if you'd like to unmute yourself and jump on the call and share your story, let people know what's going on in your life.
Well, I might not want to go that far, but no, absolutely. Been about 5 or 6 years now that I guess I've been taking Sisel products, probably 5. But the first year I started taking them, I know you had started me on Fucoidan, Eternity were the 2 I started out with, Inner Chi and Brain Vitality. And I started taking them just to be a healthier me, not for any specific health reason, you know, disease state or anything like that. And interestingly enough, I'd only been taking them about 3 months, and I went for my annual physical. And I've always had high cholesterol that I, to that point, had not been doing anything about. other than trying to exercise a little bit more. And I went in fully expecting the doctors to say this is the time they're going to tell me they're going to start putting me on something for it now, because that's what they had told me the time before I was in. It's looking like it's high enough that you're going to have to go on something for it. So I went in and I had all my blood drawn, and a couple weeks later I got my test back, and that my doctor, my internal medicine doctor, actually called me up and said, "What the heck are you doing?" And I said, "What do you mean?" And I expected her to say, "Yeah, you need to get on something right now." And she said, "Your cholesterol has been cut in less than half. Your triglycerides are less than half." She said, "You're not even anywhere near close to needing to be on something anymore." And to my amazement, I had no idea that was happening inside me. I felt good. I kept telling my kids I felt good, and they're like, "Yeah, Mom, that's because you're taking these vitamins. You just think you're feeling better." I said, "Well, really? Because look at my test results. They don't lie." And my numbers were insane. And so my doctor was, "What are you doing?" And she called her nurse in. The nurse came in and she said, "Can you tell me what you're doing and what what you've been on?" And I think the most interesting part about it is not only did it address my LDL, but it addressed my HDL as well. And so both numbers changed in a positive direction simultaneously. And she said, I don't normally see that happen unless someone started becoming a marathon runner or changed their diet drastically. And I literally had done nothing different other than the products. So pretty amazing for me. And I've been on them ever since. And in fact, if something goes on back order, I about hyperventilate. So I'm learning to start stocking up. So,
You
but it's
bet.
been the best thing ever. The other thing that I don't know if I ever told you about, Doc, but I'm a walker runner, and I used to have a lot of hip pain. And I remember you said, "Why don't you start taking the Renovator?" And I said, "Okay, it's worth a try." I mean, I would get up in the morning and I felt 90 years old. I'd turn over and my left hip was like, "Oh Lord, what happened? What train wreck?" And started taking the Renovator, and the pain totally went away. And I was still doing 4 miles a day, so I wasn't doing any less exercise. I ran out of it for a couple of months. Interestingly, all the pain came back about a month later. And I'm like, I didn't even think about it because I had been out and I couldn't get it. And I went, "What is different? Why is this hurting me?" And I didn't realize I hadn't been able to take Renovator. And it came back in stock, and I started taking it, and literally within 4 days, again, my pain was gone. 4 days of starting it again. And now I'm like, okay, need to stock up on that one too, because I don't want to go back to square one on that. But it's amazing what these products can do. And I do feel bad that we can't say, I understand cure or whatever, but my God, if that isn't what made the difference, I don't know what did. So
That's
I
right.
wouldn't be without them.
Yeah, isn't that something that you can't say cure or treat, but when in your mind that you haven't done anything else differently, and it made all the difference. So
Oh, 100%. 100%.
yeah, you bet. Well, thanks for sharing, Lisa, and you have a wonderful Christmas. Have a Merry Christmas with you and your family and your kids, and enjoy.
I will, and you too, and I'll talk to you before Christmas.
All right. Thanks, Lisa. Have a great night. Thanks for
Yeah, you
sharing.
too. You betcha.
All right. Well, we're going to run over to Terry Schock. Terry, if you want to hit your unmute button and you can share your story with us. Now, I don't think I've ever heard your story completely. I don't think we've ever shared it on a call. So
Well, thanks for having me, Doc.
thank you.
So I'm Terry Schock, and about 8 years ago, I became very ill from taking some injections, the hepatitis A, B, and C. I was hurt on the job, and my legs started swelling instantly, and I went down. After the doctors put me on about 38 different prescriptions, including 180 milligrams of morphine a day, I was almost wheelchair bound where I couldn't walk, couldn't do anything. My kids took care of me. I begged my doctors to take me off medications, and they wouldn't. They just kept upping and upping them. I took myself off everything, and I have my life back. I got myself on Sisel about 2.5 months ago, and life is turning around. Like, no other. My hair was falling out so bad that I had like 2 handfuls of hair after showering. My hair is growing back in. Now I have like 2.5 inches of new hair growth all over my head. My veins are opened up like no other. I have so much energy, it's unreal. The pain in my body is like dissipated. My lipomas that I have because I have Derkham's disease, my lipomas are actually shrinking. So I'm sleeping better, and I want to say that I am breathing 100% better from a year ago. I was on 5 different inhalers. I was on breathing treatments 3 to 4 times a day, and I was on a breathing machine at night. I'm no longer on any of that, and I can run around my yard. That was just from the H pill.
What products are you taking? What products have you been taking in over the course of the last 90 days that have made all these changes?
Well, Doc, I'd like to say I'd like to be on every single one of them if I could, but my stomach doesn't allow me to. So I'm able to take the H pill. I take the Fucoidin, the Eternity, and the Spectrum X, and the Super Omega Plus. And what else did we take? Oh, the vitamin.
Then Compass 360.
Mhm.
You bet.
Yes.
You bet. But you think about just those, I mean, really 4 simple products, 5 simple products that you take, and they've made the difference. They've given you back your life.
They have.
All right.
I can't thank you guys enough for bringing this into my life, because it's been a miracle, and we needed it.
But you need to share that story, stand on the rooftop and share it with everyone.
Shouting it to the world. All
right. Well, have a Merry Christmas, Terry. Thanks for being with us tonight and sharing your amazing story. Where do you hear this one? I'm going to follow up with Sandy, because I know you're going to be equally amazed with her son's story. So thank you, Terry. And Sandy, if you want to unmute yourself and.
Hi, Kurt. Yes, well, I'll do a quick one on myself first and then do my son. For me, I used to get ulcers in my eyes for 30 years. No doctor, specialist could work out why. So they'd give me these creams to put in my eye of a night. And then, of course, I just have blurry vision for the rest of the days. So I was actually on Tom's former company's products, but I was still getting them. And then when I changed to Sisel, I noticed that just being on the Triangle of Life, I used to get these ulcers probably every 3 to 4 months. Sometimes I'd go 6 months, but I could never push past 6 months. Then when I went on to the Triangle of Life, I noticed that I only got 2 out of the 3 years I was on the Triangle of Life. And if I got one, I would get the Eternity and put it on an iPad and then just go to bed with it on my eye, and I'd wake up and it'd be gone. But then I noticed 3 years ago when I went on to the age pill as well, that I've never, ever had an ulcer since in the 3 years. And it's the longest I've been in my life, because I had them from when I was 26 to, 51 or something like that. Yeah, 55, I think. Yeah, so it's the longest I've ever been without ulcer, which is fantastic, because they are terrible. It's like sand in your eye. Even when you close the eye, it's still burning like anything, and you cannot stand light at all. So it was hard to drive. It was hard to do a lot of things. But anyway, that was mine. So that was the age pill that changed that. And then for our son, again, he's had 17 brain surgeries from when he was born to 15 years of age. And they had him on so much pain medication, it was unbelievable. So we found Tom's former company, and that changed his life. He got off of all his medications. Even the doctors were asking, what have you done? Because of the change was just unbelievable. They've never seen anything like it in their life, because they had him on one of the strongest drugs in Australia. And he got himself off of all those drugs at 15. Then we noticed when Tom sold that the products weren't working, and he started going back on all his medications again, because he just didn't know what to do. So I looked into Sisel, and that's when I got the Triangle of Life for him and the Brain Vitality. And within 3 weeks again, he was off all his pain killers and off his antidepressants again, and just changed person. Then the Sisel Ripped came, and he's always been very, very thin. He's like probably 5'7", 5'8", and he's only ever weighed 50 kilos. So we got the Sisel ripped, and he started on 1 a day, and he put on probably a good 10 kilos. Then he listened to Tom Jr. speak on it, Tom Jr. 3, and he said you could have up to 9 a day. So Jade thought, I'm going to do 3 a day. So he has now put on 24 kilos, the heaviest he's ever been. So he's really pleased with himself that he's really bulked up. And so that's a great testimony in that. So like some people are trying to lose weight, but yet people that are very thin are wanting to bulk up, and definitely the ripped is the one that's done it for him. And also with the ripped, because his head has been sliced open 17 times in the same place, he's never, ever had any feeling there ever. He said he could never feel water on his head or anything. But we put him on the Stemolytics when it came out. Then we actually ran out of stock of it, but I actually had enough supply for him. So Paul and I didn't have it, but made sure he had it. And within the 2.5 to 3 months, he had feeling back on his head. First time ever in his life he's had feeling. And we actually ran out of the Brain Vitality here in Australia, and he was out of it for 2 weeks. He's never, ever been off it in the 5.5 years we've been on it. And all the numbness came back. But when he got back on it, it was about another 2 weeks again, 2 to 3 weeks, and he had the feeling back again. So, and also he had really bad eczema on his head and his face, and the Sisel ripped is what's actually changed that for him. So that's his little, and my testimonial. Thank you.
Sandy, thanks for sharing that on you and your son. Do you have any before and after photos of Jade that you could show us so people could see what 24 kilos really looks like on him?
Not that I can pull it straight up, Kurt.
Or you don't have anything on the wall somewhere?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Sorry, I'd have to. Oh, it was there. No, it's gone. Once it's gone,
Doc.
yeah, sorry.
Have her post the pictures in the comments on the live.
Yeah,
Yep,
if you could do that.
I can do
Could
that.
do that. Because it's just amazing. When I was down there 9 months ago, can you believe it was 9 months ago that I was there? And and your son walked into the room. I'm like, holy cow! I mean, he looked like a totally different person.
Yeah.
And just from the Sisel rip. So, well, thanks for sharing it. And Sandy, I hope you have a Merry Christmas with lots of snow as well.
Thanks, Kurt. Definitely no snow here. Lots of rain coming.
Lots of rain, but not snow. Not in Brisbane, huh?
No.
All right. Well, thanks for sharing, and I appreciate you getting on and sharing your story and your son's story. I'm gonna have Peter Corton jump on, and Peter, if you could unmute yourself and share your story. Peter is just a ball of energy and always a pleasure to be with you when I come down there to Brisbane. Peter, if you want to hit the unmute button.
Unmute.
There you are. Hey,
Hey.
Peter, thanks for being with us tonight and sharing your story.
Yeah, well, we miss you, Kurt, because you haven't been to see us. We hope that soon it'll happen again. I want to share with you my story about getting old. It was something I never expected would happen to me. I've been able to run all of my life pretty well full speed. And in my early days, I was a long distance runner and a cyclist. So I'm used to being on the move. But when I got to about 76, something strange and unwelcome started to happen to me. I run a lubrication business full time, and it was becoming more difficult to cope with the workload. I think the brain wasn't working as well as it had been, and a bit of good fortune came my way. Someone was pestering me because he wanted hair like mine, and he asked me how I had hair and he didn't. And I said, oh, it's Second Chance shampoo from New Way. So he wanted it, and I was trying to find it through Modere, but I couldn't get it. And so I thought one day, oh, Tom Mauer, I'll go on the internet and I'll have a look. And sure enough, I found the Sisel company. So out of that came that I went on a Triangle of Life. That was my first venture in March, 3.5 years, 3.75 years ago. And I can't say that it did any miracles, but I enjoyed the product. And then I got involved a bit with interacting with Paul and Sandy. And then one day they told me there's a new product out called the Age Pill. Well, I went on the Age Pill. Now, I'd been able to run all those years without ever being having any real bad sickness, or I did have a couple of injuries, but got through them. And I went on the Age Pill. Well, I changed color. And I went pink. And I probably contact Sandy, and she said, oh, it'll go away, you know. And it did. But to assist it to go away, we reduced the dose to 1 and 1 instead of 3 and 3. But after a few months, I was on 3 and 3. And what happened was I started to keep a list of what was happening to the body. And what would I say the first thing? I think the first thing I noticed was the skin on my arms and what have you was getting better. Like it was returning to a better luster, and the skin was looking better. And the face, of course, you look at your face a bit. So I think my face was getting younger. And then after about 6 months, I made up a list which involved the fact that my hair was changing color, and it was returning to its black color. It hasn't reached that entirely, but it certainly looks a lot better than before I started. I also found that I had more energy. My brain was working better, although at times taking the Age Pill, it might fog up a bit, but after a few days, it would improve. The fact that I've got such a good memory, which I had a good memory, but now I've just clicked over 80 years of age, and I've got a really good memory. I'm right in my life story, and I can remember things right back to when I was 3. So I think the Age Pill has really changed my how I operate, how I am with people, how I'm probably more friendly than I was, because when you're low on energy, you can't you're a lack of energy, so you can't be generous. And yeah, the business is going well. I'm running it well. Had the best financial year last financial year, so I put it down to the Age Pill that everything is working much better with the body. Skin is looking good. And if you ask Paul, he'll tell you that he's watched the changes, he says. And of course, yeah, go ahead, Paul. No, he didn't. But you're going to come and you'll probably see some changes then. One of my good fortune was that about 2 years ago, Tom came 2 years and 4 months ago or so. He came to Brisbane, and I waited in the queue, and eventually I got to sit with Tom and talk to him. And when I sat down, I had my shirt on, and it said 77 going on 60. So I'm definitely more like 60 than my 80 years of age. Thank you very much.
Peter, thanks for sharing that. What a great story. You know, I remember the first time I met you and you shared your story, and I mean, it's hard to believe that you just turned 80 years old.
Yeah, well, 100 is not a problem now.
That's right.
It's definitely going to happen. I'm, because I keep active, nothing's really changed, and everything's going really well. Even though we've had the virus, didn't touch my business, because you've got to be really helpful to people. And I would say with the Sisel business, that's the key to success with Sisel, because you've got to be helpful. And one of the great stories was the greatest networker in the world, which was really over the top about helping people. But you yourself, Dr. Kurt, you're a very helpful guy, and you help a lot of people, and you've helped me too. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. No, if it wouldn't be for all of you, I wouldn't be doing what I get to love doing, and that's helping people, because after my motorcycle wreck, I couldn't go back to the clinic. So yeah, thank you. Thank you, everyone. And thanks for sharing your stories. I mean, and get this out to people. I'll have this video process tonight. It'll be on YouTube. Get this out to people. Let them hear. And those people that are listening to the video, get back to the person that shared this with you, and like we've heard people say, what the heck, give it a try. I mean, if it doesn't work for you, I'd be totally surprised, but I think everybody's going to notice something. Like I used to tell people, I'd say, here, take this Fucoid and just take a 1-ounce shot glass every day, and take a shot of this for 90 days. And if 90 days you don't feel any difference at all, bring back the empty bottles and I'll buy them back from you. And I've never had anybody bring back the empty bottles and wanting their money back. They always felt different. They always felt like they had a change. I've never had anybody request their money back. Myself, as far as my story, I want to share it, is that, 13 years ago, I was in a horrible motorcycle accident, and I went looking for a way to generate an income, because I had 3 teenage boys living at home. And I really needed a way to provide for them, because how am I going to send them through college? How am I going to make sure that they have what they need in life? And I couldn't go back to my clinic. I was in a wheelchair. And that's what really got me into network marketing, because I was looking for a way that I could help people like I'm doing, but do it from home, and possibly do it from a wheelchair for the rest of my life, because that's what the doctors were telling me. They said that I'd never be walking again. And so that's really how I got started. And I went to one company, and I got started with them, and there was just some problems. You could see some problems with the company, and eventually it kind of fell apart. And I went looking for another, for a better company. I ended up somewhere along the way into a different company. It really didn't have all the pieces of the puzzle that you needed. And finally, I was on my way to do a talk in St. Louis, and I'm driving through Omaha, and a friend of mine said, "Hey, Kurt, take a look at Sisel." And I listened to recordings of Tom Mauer as I drove from Fargo, North Dakota to St. Louis. And by the time I got to St. Louis, it's like, I'm in. I'm all in. This is what I've been looking for. And I've been able to build a business that pays me not quite what I was making in my clinic, but I've got the freedom. I've got the freedom that I can go, like yesterday, it was my dad's 84th birthday. I had the freedom. I could drive down there during the day and spend some time with him. My middle boy, he's in medical school. He's home right now for a month. I get to spend time with him every day. I get to have meals with him every single day. A buddy of mine came into town last weekend. I got to spend time with him. I can work and play at the same time. Last February, I was down in Australia. I was there for a month hanging out with these characters from down in Australia, and I'm just going to call you characters, but I got to hang out in Australia, and I'm going to miss it probably for the next 2 years, because they're saying that they're really not going to let us travel because of COVID, and I understand. It's a horrible thing. We don't want to pass that infection on to other people, but as far as health goes, man, I started taking the age pill, and within days, I go for this 3-mile walk every day. Once I was able to walk again, I go for this 3-mile walk every day. And I noticed that the colors were brighter, greens were greener, and blues were bluer. And I noticed that I could sense things better. You know, as I'm walking, I go, oh, there's a deer, oh, there's a squirrel, and I really noticed that. And like Peter was saying, my memory came back. I mean, I used to have a pocket full of Post-it notes at the end of the day, and I'd be going through my Post-it notes. Okay, I got that done. Oh, I got that one done. I got that one done. And then I'd have what I didn't get done, and I'd stack them over here. And then tomorrow I'd put those Post-it notes in my pocket, and I'd start the day out. You know, I don't have a single Post-it note in my pocket anymore. Not one. 58 years old. I'll be 59 next year. I feel great. I sleep like a baby. I can go and go and go. I don't need to, take a break. And finally, I'll tell you, Sisel is coming out with a weight loss product, and a friend of mine was supposed to be on tonight to share his story, but he had some things come up in his life that he couldn't make it here tonight. But he'll be on next week, and we'll do just an individual call just with him. He's lost 26 pounds in 5 weeks on this new weight loss product, and I've lost 14. And I have big goals. My goal is to lose 70. To be back where I was when I was busy in my clinic, when I was on my feet all the time, because I put on 70 pounds, 2 years in a wheelchair, and then my metabolism went down, and depression set in, and all of that. And when you're depressed, what do? You eat, and you don't eat good food. Like when you're depressed, you don't reach for celery or carrots. It's usually a candy bar, and so the new weight loss product, it also has some ingredients in it. I'm going to share some things with you, and you'll hear about it in the next week, I'm sure, from corporate. But it's got some ingredients that actually improve the mood, make you feel better, because that's part of it, is that depression causes you to eat wrong, and so they want to address all of those things. So we're gonna have an amazing product, and so get people fired up that they're going to be able to have better health in the new year. So thanks, everyone. Merry Christmas. Thanks for being with us tonight. For those of you that are watching on Facebook, thanks for being here. For those of you listening to this video, thanks for being here. And like Bob said, remember the reason for the season. It's not about, what am I going to get? It's about what can you do for other people, and how do you share that with everyone? So thanks, everyone. Bye.
Thanks, Dr. Kurt. Yeah, really appreciate your effort and what you're doing.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.